Spoons and forks are natural allies that have worked together for centuries to defeat a plethora of food-based combatants. While it is unlikely for these two utensils to face off in their natural habitat, most of us can't help but wonder who would win in a fight, spoon or fork? Today we're going to look at some of their key stats to determine which of these combatants would beat the other. Let's begin with offense. Spoons generally rely on their basic bludgeoning attack. While this may seem like a very simple, low-level attack, the use of the spoon's armored head can make this technique quite painful for biological targets to endure. Spoons also have a splash attack which can be quite surprising and inconvenient. However, this is generally ineffective unless the target is made of metal prone to rusting. Forks, on the other hand, also have a basic bludgeoning attack. However, due to their shape, this attack is generally less effective than that of the spoons. Forks instead rely on their signature ability, poke. Unfortunately, this ability is heavily limited by the tines of the fork, which are usually not sharpened. As a result, this attack is effective against only the softest of targets like bread or cooked chicken. The fork's scratch ability is similarly limited by the lack of sharp tines. It does, however, have a whisk attack which can be effective against egg-based targets. In this category, I think we can agree that the spoon's offensive capabilities, while simplistic in nature, outweigh those of the forks. But how do they stack up in terms of defense? Well, the bowl of the spoon is well suited to blocking incoming attacks. Its curved shape allows direct hits to be deflected easily, dealing little to no damage to the spoon. Forks have a comparably smaller area with which to deflect attacks. However, if an attacker is thin enough, the fork can use its tines to deal a crippling counter-attack by grappling with its opponent. That being said, the tines themselves can be vulnerable to grapple attacks, and they will bend easily if faced with true grapple-based attackers like pliers. The same cannot be said for spoons, which are generally much more difficult to bend in a grapple. As a result, the spoons are the clear winners in this category as well. But how do these utensils perform in terms of agility? Well, spoons and forks have smooth and highly polished exteriors which allow them to be slid over surfaces with relative ease. They can also move with a horizontal flipping motion which takes them in a roughly circular arc. With regard to this mode of locomotion, the curved shape of the spoon's bowl allows it to pivot far more easily and cover greater distances. As a result, it tends to travel slightly faster than a fork using this method, and thus, spoons have a very slight advantage over forks in terms of agility. Next up, charisma. Spoons have a rather endearing shape and are generally seen in a positive light. They are used in the names of many food establishments, and food establishments are more likely to provide spoons than forks for takeaway food items. Forks, unfortunately, do not enjoy the same positive reputation. Their close cousins, pitchforks, are generally thought of to have a menacing shape and are associated in some cultures with evil mythical beings. Furthermore, the term fork sounds extremely similar to the term which is deemed as not appropriate to use in polite company. These traits bring down the overall charisma of forks, allowing spoons to surge ahead in this category as well. Finally, intelligence. Neither spoons nor forks have ever demonstrated any form of brain function or higher intelligence. They do not react when presented with food, video or audio-based entertainment, or even verbal abuse. As a result, this category is a tie. So now let's look at our overall verdict on who would win the fight between spoon and fork. After winning in 4 out of 5 categories, it should be no surprise that spoons would be the obvious choice for a winner. Their impressive defense combined with a simple but effective bludgeoning attack would allow them to achieve victory over most forks. We sincerely hope that you found this information useful, and we hope to see you again next time.